Good morning, Mariners, and happy Tuesday. It's so nice to have you guys tuning in and learning with me again. So today we're going to be doing reading, and we're going to be focusing on nonfiction. So I'm pretty excited. This is my first time getting into these nonfiction books. They're all new books. So we're going to have a good time with that. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and get rolling and share my screen with you. We are going to be watching a brain pop today, and this brain pop is about nonfiction books. So if you guys can sit back and relax, let me get that pulled up, and we will get started. Hope you guys are doing well today. All right, here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right.
Selden's lost his skin? Don't be upset, Moby. I think it's normal for snakes to lose their skin. But we better look it up in a book to be sure. No, not a storybook. A nonfiction book. What is nonfiction? Nonfiction writing is about real people, places, or events. It shares information and facts to help explain things. Newspapers, magazines, and textbooks are all kinds of nonfiction. And biographies are nonfiction books that tell you about someone's life. A diary can be nonfiction too. Hey, wait, whose diary is that? Nonfiction books look pretty different from fiction books. What are the parts of a nonfiction book? Well, the first part is the title. That's the name of the book. This one's called Caring for Snakes. There's the table of contents, which lists all the chapters and what pages they're on. You could read the table of contents to see if the book will tell you what you want to know. Let's see. This book has a chapter about snake skin. Perfect. Some books have a glossary in the back. A glossary tells the definition of words that come up in the book. Well, kind of like a dictionary, except a lot smaller. Some books also have an index. The index lists words and topics in the book and the pages where they come up. Let's see. Snake skin. Skin. Wow, there are tons of pages that have information about it. Now I think we're ready to start reading. But how do you read a nonfiction book? There's a lot of information in this book. So I'm going to read the book in small sections and stop and think about what I read. Snakes shed their skin as they grow. Let me think. I guess snakes need to shed their old skin and grow new skin as they get bigger. Their skin doesn't grow with their body like mine does. Cool. I know I understood what I read because I could put it in my own words. You're right, Moby. Looking at the pictures is important too. The caption is the writing underneath the picture that gives us more information. This caption says, snake skin is made of scales. The word scales is in bold, so I know the author wanted me to notice it. And the label shows us where the scales are. This book has a ton of information to remember. How can I take notes as I read nonfiction? No one can remember everything they read, so it can help to write down some things. Thanks, Moby. A graphic organizer can help you keep track of important details, like a timeline word web, or KWL chart? We know that Selden shed his skin. We want to know if it's normal for snakes to shed. We learned that snakes shed their skin as they grow. What? Oh no! Selden's loose? Where did he go?
Oh no. Moby is still just as silly as he was when we were in school. I love those videos. So that was a great little introduction to nonfiction. But nonfiction is a type of literature that is based on factual information. We've talked about nonfiction this year. We've read some nonfiction books as well, but it's based on facts. It's based on true, real information. So I'm going to do a quick presentation with you guys that is about nonfiction, and then we're going to read our first nonfiction book in this unit together. So let me go ahead and share my screen again and pull this down, and we are going to get started. All right, so there are three main types of nonfiction literature that we're going to be reading about, talking about, and exploring during this unit. All right, so the first type of nonfiction literature is a biography. So if you've heard of a biography before, you might have seen a TV show that's a biography, a movie that's a biography, or read books that are biographies. We have biographies about Jackie Robinson, Helen Keller, Amelia Earhart, so many other people in our classroom, so you probably picked up those before. But biographies are true stories. They're real, true stories that are written about someone's life. So a biography could be written about the first person to invent baseball, or a biography could be written about the person who built the Eiffel Tower. So it's just a true, real information about a person. It usually includes dates in the biography, so when the person was born, maybe when they went to school, when they first invented whatever they came up with, or did whatever they did that was so famous. But then it also includes events in their lives. So maybe when they got married, or when they first went to college, or when they first had their first job. So those are important events that they might include it in a biography. And then the last thing they include in a biography is usually how they influenced our world. So typically biographies are written about someone who changed our world in some way or influenced our world in some way. So we're going to be reading a biography today, as well as a couple this unit. I love biographies. They're fun. Okay, the next one is called a reference text. Now, a reference text is a book that you use to reference, or you use to look at to get information about something. So the reference text that we're going to be using, one of them, is called Tell Me Tree, and it is about trees. So everything in this book focuses on the one major topic of trees. And then it includes different selections or subtopics or information about trees. So everything in that book is telling you about trees. And it usually includes text features. So it usually includes a glossary, an appendix. It includes pictures. It includes captions, titles, subtitles, all the things that you might find in a nonfiction text that we talked about earlier this year. All right, and the very last one is literary nonfiction. Now, this might be my favorite one, and this is the book that we're actually going to read today. Literary nonfiction is a type of nonfiction that tells a story. It sounds like you're reading a fiction story because it's just an interesting, normal, everyday story plotline. And then the point of this is it's written to entertain you. It's written for fun, for you to enjoy it, but it does include facts, and it does include true and real information about something that happened to help the reader understand the topic. All right, so today we're going to be reading Pop together. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right, so Pop, this is the book. And it is about the invention of bubblegum. And it is by Megan McCarthy. I love this book, and I have a personal connection to this book. This book is about the man who, his name is Walter, and he invented bubblegum. And he invented the bubblegum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And for those of you that know me, you know that I have family in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and spend a lot of time up there. What's interesting about this, and my personal connection to it, is that I have family that knows the family of Walter, the man who invented bubblegum. And I personally know them as well. I grew up with them and spent my summers with them. They live about 3 houses down from us at the beach in New Jersey, where they vacation. And they live in a bright pink house. And it's called the Bubblegum House. And the reason we call it the Bubblegum House is because this is the family of the man who invented bubblegum. So kind of a fun connection. I knew them growing up. They're really nice people. So I love to connect to this book for that reason. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I love the inside cover. I love that. I feel like I need wallpaper on my house with this. It's so bright and fun. So we're going to go ahead and get reading. There are going to be a few times where I'm going to stop and ask you to think about something. You can say it out loud or think it in your head, but just make sure that you're participating and really thinking about the book and making sure that you're understanding it. All right. On a small street in Philadelphia in the 1920s, there was a factory owned by the Fleer family. Inside the factory, lots of gum and candy were made. Working upstairs was a young accountant named Walter Deemer. His job was to add numbers and balance budgets. He knew lots about math, but not much about gum. It looks to me like Walter is here and he might be using that calculator to balance some budgets, and he's kind of taking care of the company, not really involved in the making of the gum. There wasn't enough space in the building, so a new experimental laboratory was moved into the office next to Walter's. In came lots of beakers and pots and tubes. What could be going on? I want you to think to yourself, what do you predict is going on here? What do you think is going on here? I feel like it has something to do with bubblegum. The big secret was that the company was trying to make a new kind of gum. Chewing gum had already been around for centuries. Men in top hats and women in puffy dresses chewed gum for fun and to cure things like stomach aches. So that's interesting to me because I have actually chewed gum to cure my stomach aches before as well. There's a type of gum that has ginger in it, and that flavoring is good to kind of settle your stomach. So even this is still going on today, but they did not have bubble gum at the time, just gum to chew, not to blow the bubbles. The ancient Greeks chewed the sap of the mastic tree. Interesting. And American Indians introduced early settlers to spruce tree resin, a sticky substance that could be chewed. So resins come from trees as well, and that stuff is what they used to chew on before they had chewing gum. Ho-hum! Gum wasn't that exciting, but what if gum chewers could blow bubbles? Now, that would be something, a world full of bubble gum blowers. I like this picture because it symbolizes that everyone in the world would be united by chewing bubble gum. And it shows Walter's dream here. It shows what he wants to accomplish. Every day, Walter watched what went on inside the laboratory. There wasn't much progress. One day, his boss gestured towards one of the kettles containing a gum experiment and said, "Watch that, will you?" After a while, I was not only watching it, I was doing it, Walter said. He added a bit of this and a bit of that, but still nothing. Perhaps making a new gum wasn't possible after all, and soon Walter's boss had given up. I have a feeling that Walter's boss was feeling defeated. He was feeling like he tried so hard and tried so many times and just couldn't achieve his dream. But I also have a feeling that Walter is not one to give up. So let's see if he sticks with it. But Walter hadn't. He spent months playing with different mixtures. Finally, something was happening. Bubbles! Big, glorious bubbles! The mixture needed flavor, so Walter added a bit of cinnamon, a dash of wintergreen, and a drop of vanilla. Could this bubbling batch be bubblegum? Guys, I want you to make a prediction. Do you think that this is bubblegum? Do you think that Walter achieved his dream? Walter put a wad into his mouth and began to chew. When the time was right, he blew a magnificent bubble. "I had it," Walter said. Excitedly, he passed out the mixture for his co-workers to try. We were blowing bubbles and prancing all over the place. Wow. How do you think that they felt right now? How do you think that Walter and his coworkers felt at this exact moment? I feel like they felt really excited. Sadly, the next day, the mixture was hard as a rock. It wouldn't blow a bubble worth a darn. But Walter didn't give up. Back to work he went. After many more months of adding this and adding that top secret ingredients he would never share, Walter found what he was looking for. It bubbled and popped. Could this batch finally be bubblegum? To finish off its grand creation, he needed some color. Pink coloring was the only one I had at hand, said the inventor. So in it went. I think that's interesting. I always wondered why bubblegum was pink, but it's because that's all he had. That's kind of funny to me. I thought it might be his favorite color or something, but I was wrong. A batch was cut into pieces, and 5 pounds of it was brought to a local mom and pop store. It was the day after Christmas, and the kids who came into the store got the present of a lifetime. They were the first people in the world to try a bubblegum that worked. That day, Walter gave lessons on how to blow bubbles. Everyone loved bubblegum. When the kids discovered what it could do, it sold out that afternoon, Walter said. I'm wondering how these people were feeling at this moment. To me, it kind of looks like they're really excited and happy. And this is just something so new and so different. I feel like I would be very excited if I were in this situation. Walter's double bubble was such a success that the Fleer Corporation made truckloads of the delicious bubblegum. It was delivered to small stores and big stores alike. After being promoted to vice president and then later retiring from Fleer, Walter enjoyed the rest of his life in a relaxed manner. He was known to ride around in a giant tricycle and liked to invite the neighborhood kids over for, what else? Gum blowing competitions. Walter Deemer never got rich from his invention, but he didn't seem to mind. "I've done something with my life," he said. "I've made kids happy around the world." So it sounds to me like Walter actually achieved his dream after all. He worked hard, he didn't give up, and he finally achieved that bubblegum that he always wanted to. What's nice about this is a nonfiction book, and so we do have pages in the back with more facts and information. This page is about Walter Deemer, the man behind bubblegum. Then we have some facts about gum, more facts about gum, and then quotes in the book that you can find in other articles that you can read about bubblegum. So I really love that book. I love that it is a literary nonfiction piece, and so it's telling a story and it's entertaining, but we also learned something. We learned how bubblegum was invented, and that is a true story. The next thing I wanted to do before I let you go is I have a quick video I want to share with you, and this video is actually how gum was created, or excuse me, how gum is made. Let's see, let me get it pulled up. Give me just one moment. Alrighty. I'm going to share my screen with you. And you guys can enjoy.
Chewing gum dates back to the ancient Greeks who chewed resin from trees. Modern chewing gum was patented in the US in 1869 by, believe it or not, a dentist. In 1928, another American invented bubble gum. Bubble gum comes in gumballs of all colors and sizes. But for blowing bubbles, nothing beats the chewy, gooey pink stuff in the twist wrap. It all starts with a gum base, the stuff that makes gum chewy. Traditionally, the base came from tree resin. Today, it's synthetic, made of plastics and rubbers. They pour the gum base into a mixer, then add color and flavoring. As it begins mixing, they pour in glucose syrup, a sweetener. Because it's liquid, it helps keep the gum base soft. Next, they add dextrose, a powdered sweetener. They blend the ingredients for about 20 minutes. The stirring action builds up heat, which melts everything together.
Wow, that looks delicious.
The mixture is ready when it reaches the consistency of bread dough. They transfer it by cart to a machine called the pre-extruder. The machine squeezes the mixture through a narrow opening, like squeezing toothpaste from the tube. This transforms the big, bulky wad into thin, manageable strips that can then go through the extruders. The extruders squeeze each strip down to the actual width of a piece of bubble gum. It comes out as one long, continuous stream to be cut into bite-sized pieces later on. This extrusion process heats up the gum. If they were to cut and wrap it now, it would stick to the wrapper. So the next stop is a cooling chamber. The gum goes in for 15 minutes at between 3 to 7 degrees Celsius. When the bubble gum comes out, it's cooled down enough for what they call the cut and wrap. One machine does both jobs in a fraction of a second. Watch the action in slow motion. As the continuous stream of gum enters on one end, the machine cuts it into bite-sized pieces, pushes each piece into a wax paper wrapper, then twists both ends of the wrapper closed. Here's the slow motion replay from a different angle. The machine processes 900 pieces of bubble gum per minute. Last stop, packaging. The bubble gum moves on to a scale that automatically weighs out the right amount per tub. They seal the tub with plastic to make it airtight. This keeps the bubble gum fresh. Ever wonder why bubble gum is pink? It's because that's the only color Walter Deemer had on hand when he invented this treat back in 1928. Since then, the color just stuck.
Very cool. So that is actually how specifically Double Bubble is made, which is the kind that Walter created. I thought that would be a nice little video to show as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about nonfiction literature and be reading some more nonfiction pieces. For your Seesaw assignment today, you are going to be going on to Seesaw, and I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. And once you get onto Seesaw, you're going to find the assignment that says Reading 4/14. The 4/14 is the date today. So that's April 14th. And the topic is, can you find it? So if you click on that, you can click play and you can hear me explain the assignment. And it kind of shows you as well how to do the assignment. So good luck. Take your time and do your very best work. If you are unable to find 3 nonfiction books for the assignment, you can always use Epic. I sent out an email today allowing you to get onto your Epic accounts now. So you can choose to use Epic books, or you can choose to find 3 books around your home. The last thing I'd like for you to do today is make sure that you read for 30 minutes for independent reading time. I would prefer for you to read a nonfiction book, but if you don't have one, you can read whatever book you have. No problem at all. I want you to enjoy that time, and if you are able to, tune in at 11 o'clock to see our math lesson. All right, have a great afternoon, and I miss you all so much. All right.